Okay, couldn't resist myself to check this one more time since we've ordered a transmission for it. The network was dead. I had just the 120 resistor, 120 ohm resistor from the ECU, and it took us a while to figure it out. Actually, I was looking in the body control module, but really the second terminating resistor on these is in the transmission control module. So my voltage on my network is cycling close to where it should, from what I remember. I can check that. I'm not tying up my regular scanners. I just had a code reader on this, a truck code reader. So my current DTC is 073. That's what I was having before. Now if I can change this, go back to the, okay, so did I hit the same one? That's one of two. Okay, let's go to the permanent. Okay, so we have a permanent one here, and a lot of us don't know. They say this motor is new, but I put a physical gauge on it, hydraulic pressure gauge, and got down kind of low at a warm idle. So I'm hoping that's going to be okay for a new transmission, but that's not my call. They decided they want to fix it. Let me go back up. I'm going to go to this one. Okay, that's that same one. It's on one of two. I got to go back to current DCs. One of one. So really I just got the fact, it's just telling me the fact that the CAN network was down, and of course I had the connector off the transmission several dozen times. Every time I would take it off and put it on, I'd get a different reading on the ohms. But the last couple days I keep coming back to it while I'm waiting for a transmission, and I'd have 120. So I knew one was completely missing. I'm watching my meter, and let's see. I'm up on the list here so I don't break my neck. Okay, so I do have check engine light still on. I'll go to this code reader, go back, erase codes. First, turn ignition on, engine off. Okay, I gotta turn the engine off. Get down here where I can see what I gotta have without breaking my neck. Okay. So, damn it. I gotta put one of my shoes fell off. Alright, I gotta go back up and turn the key on. I don't know why I forgot to do that. I'm gonna get hurt one of these days climbing all over these things. Alright, that lousy pump noise, I should say that loud pump noise, is the lousy propane pump. Alright, let's go Back to erase codes. Clear. Mission related code has been cleared. Okay. So then we'll go back to read codes. And current vehicle has no fault. Pending. Vehicle has no fault. And permanent. The engine oil pressure, for some reason, stays there. I don't know why. But it's been like that. We put a oil pressure sensor in this thing last year. The motor had been just put in at that point. So now I got to go back up. You can see my bolts the way I'm set up there. All right, let me go and ground one of them. I'll ground the, let's see, we'll go to can high. Can high shows me 2.514, 2.49, and we'll go to can low. And we'll short that to ground. And we got our 19993. Okay, so that's all good. Now, if I put these, put the can high and can low in the right places, and turn the key off, we'll demonstrate what we have to have. And I know the terminating resistor isn't functioning 100% because I end up with, I gotta go back to ohms, I end up with 70, what does that say, 70.1, 73.7, 73.7, 70.1 it started at. See, it fluctuates and I could lose it any moment. I don't know why. It must be a broken solder joint in there, and as it gets cold or hot, but this thing wouldn't start. No response to the key. Had it's been for a couple of days, and now that I've got my ohms of resistance down to, well, it's supposed to be around 60, but I got a little over 60, close to 70. And the truck starts and runs as it should. Now, I have a park and brake on, but that's all, because the park and brake is actually on, and the check engine light is out. I'm satisfied. Can't wait for the transmission to get here so I can get my hoist back. Not the best video I've ever made. Alright, so just because I'm a very inquisitive cuss, I have underneath the truck here, I've got just a little cheapy DBOM there. My good one's over there, and currently it's reading 73.6. So this thing would start if I wanted to. I don't feel like going anywhere, but it would start. All right, there's that stupid connector. And one of the things that's going on here, and another transmission guy finally told me, he says, yeah, if you've got oil coming out of there, you've got to change that out anyway. Every time I take that connector off, the connector inside is wet. And I know the conductivity of oil, I know the little ohms changed there probably, but I just couldn't hardly believe that was enough to kill this situation. So anyways, this transmission was a reman in 2 years ago, and apparently there's something wrong with it. So that connector right there, if anybody is unfamiliar, you just lift up on this tab, push it up. I would push it up and down before, and I would change. Let's see if I can do it. Okay, so I lift it up. It goes to 119. It'll work its way up to 120. I'm just going to put it back on. 73. Now I'm going to take a chance on pulling out my test pins. 1, 2, and I got another one up there. 3. Just want to make sure I haven't hurt nothing. Alright, is that all of them? Alright, so I got all my back probe pins out. I still got the 7-3. So I tried from back probing over here to try to prove this to myself, because I'm not the kind of guy that wants to tell somebody they've got to buy a big expensive part if I'm not totally sure. So I kept looking for a resistor. I'm gonna pause this. So the fact is, like I said, I never ran into this kind of a thing before working on a network. It's always been something short at the ground or short at the power. I've had them open, but for different reasons, like something that was involved in some damage, but crashes. But this one here had me going, and frankly, all you guys out there, don't pick on me if I'm not 100% on this, because I absolutely am taken back by some of these guys that really understand the electronics in today's vehicles. I have a pretty good rudimentary knowledge of what has to happen, what is happening, but the same token, I don't do this every day. I'm a man that wears many hats, so I still have 73. I'm going to leave this all hooked up. I got a trickle charger on it. I'll let it set through the morning. But what I was going to say finally is I made myself up a couple little tools. Maybe you all have them already. I don't know. Maybe it's not a big deal. But to me, I couldn't figure out a good way to test directly across, and I could see 120 ohms from the ECM. I could see it at the transmission control module. I could make it appear on my DVOM. But switching the wires and checking that was on the high can. On the low can network, I couldn't get it to do what I thought it should. It kept seeing 20 something, 40 something one time. You know, sometimes it would be 11. I mean, it was just random all over the place. That's why I think it might be a loose, broken solder joint. Well, anyways, on the resistor. So I made myself up a resistor. First, I played around a little bit. I just had some radio resistor here. I think I can set this one up to like 11. And I could send that across. But it wasn't really enough to prove to me. So it happened to be a day where I couldn't get anywhere and get anything. And I called around and nobody really had what I was looking for. So I took apart an old ECM that we had here on the bench. It's junk. But I said, I'll take it apart someday and maybe I can use a capacitor or something. But what I did was I actually found between this point, I didn't bother to keep going to the wires because I was getting tired and supper was ready. But I went from this connection here to this connection here, and I picked up 107 ohms. And 107 ohms was enough to get me a pretty positive conclusion. That's why I told him to send the transmission. Because I back probed at the connector, and I saw the equivalent over here on my DVOM. My DVOM is connected to the breakout box, Now when this thing is running now, everything flashes, everything does what it's supposed to do. I mean, I'm pretty pumped about it, waiting for the transmission. But I just thought I'd mention this. If anybody's looking for some resistors, take apart an old ECM. I mean, I found everything. 5s, 7s, 9s, 40s. They're all different in there. Of course, that's the way it talks. So just kind of interesting. To me it is, because like I said, I have the greatest respect for people that do this every day, and I'm the one here that if it has to be fixed, I'm the only one that's gonna. The buck stops here. We'll put it that way, because I don't get paid unless the thing goes out. That's always been my motto, and it's your customer's motto, believe it or not. They don't want to pay you unless you can fix it. So there you go. All right, well, hopefully I can piece and park this together to make something out of it, so that it might help somebody. But anybody that's got more knowledge on these GMs, this is a 2014, feel free. I'm open to suggestion, but we know what the problem is now. Well, thanks for your patience, and I'll get back to you again. Well, I thought I was all done, but I realized I mentioned a little tool that I made. I failed to mention a little tool I made. I showed it on the video, on a flyby here, but I was talking about the 107 ohms of resistance that I got out of the old ECM. I just went through my 2-wire retractable. That got me my ohms over there. But I ended up, there's 120 ohms right there, 120.9. Get everything out of the way here. All right, that's this thing right here. It's a little chip that I soldered together, put 2 wires, wound them together, and that's my Rube Goldberg setup to connect them. I was sticking myself in my finger. But that's my 120 ohms. That little resistor is only about a, well, it's the size of one of these things. This is 4 out of a packet of 5. So I took one of these and soldered a couple pieces of wire to it. This is a good little company right here. It got me just what I needed, knew exactly what I was dealing with. Playingwithfusion.com. I'm going to be researching them more and more as we go, because that was pretty cool. So they sent me those. It was like $2.90, like under $3. It was like $6 for transportation to get it here. All right, so I'm going to take this apart just so that people can see that I'm not crazy. There's my 120, and now it goes away. Ouch. You know what ouch means. No connection. All right, thank you. Bye.